Hi, thanks for dropping by. I'm glad you could spare a few minutes just to watch this video on our latest book, which is How to Win the 2018 World Cup in Russia. But before we go into that, just let me share you a few facts on the World Cup that you may not know. Firstly, there's 32 teams playing in the World Cup this year, and this may be the very last year that you see 32 teams play, as there's a big push within Fifa to have the 2022 World Cup in Qatar to have 48 teams, so that'll be 16 matches more. But certainly by 2026 there will be 48 teams playing in the World Cup. I guess more means more money, and talking about money, it cost Russia $12 billion to host the World Cup over the 32 days of the World Cup. And how's that 12 billion spent, I hear you ask? Well, 400 million goes back to the teams in prize money. Just for fronting up in Russia, they're going to give you 8 million US for making the top 32, plus you get 1.5 million spending money. Buy a lot of beers with 1.5 million, trust me. And the winner of the whole big dance gets 24 million US, and the loser just loses 2 million and comes out with 22 million. So I guess that's 22 million plus their 8 million plus their 1.5 million for beers. So not a bad gig for a month in Russia, so you say. Another important thing on the World Cup is that last World Cup, 3.2 billion people watched the final. So over the next month, you're going to have plenty of radio, press, does anyone listen to the radio anymore? TV, World Cup. If you're not in the World Cup, well, you might as well be in Antarctica. No, probably they'll be showing it there for sure. Another very important fact is, and the Hyundai did an ad based on it, is that the winning country has a baby boom 9 months after the cup final. So who knows? You may be lucky. You may be in that country, and all your birds may come home to roost, as they say. Well, before we get into more on how to win in the 2018 World Cup in Russia, from Russia with football, important words from our sponsor, who would, without them, would not make this video possible.
Avant que je puisse réagir, j'étais embarqué dans un camion de livraison, et voilà comment j'ai atterri ici.
Ah, c'est incroyable, hein. Hein, t'entends ça, chérie?
Bah oui, c'est fou.
Okay, rumour has it that the iWoman range will be in iCan shortly, so keep your eyes peeled for those catalogues coming in the letterbox for the iCan range of iWoman. Okay, for those of you who've been in sports trading or sports betting for a long time, and even horses for that fact, the name Tony the Badger Hargraves will be a name most of you would have heard. For those of you who haven't heard of him, what rock have you been under? No, seriously. For those of you who haven't heard of him, he is the author of 7 ebooks on trading in cricket, football, horses, and also of the mind, as far as training your mind to be a sports trading mindset. So he comes well credentialed with that. Plus he's taught thousands of people in his workshops across the UK and Ireland, and also in Australia for horse trading in Australia. but certainly well credentialed, and also being used by Betfair to train their VIP clients in how to trade sports better. So he comes with, as I said, the credentials in order to put a worthy spin on his thoughts in that for the World Cup in 2018 in Russia. So what does it entail? Well, first off, Tony goes in to looking at the selections. He gives you his selections for the World Cup, but also the most important thing he gives is a life skill that you'll be able to continue to use well after the World Cup, and that is how to place those bets and how to trade those bets in the different markets. In the markets being matched odds, the under and over market, also in the correct score market, plus he talks a bit on spread betting, and there's some figures in that there from previous World Cups going back from 2010 that will help you get that edge, the edge you need to be ahead of most people betting in sports. So this PDF will be your guide, your profit in that, this PDF here I'm talking about, to how successful you are in the 2018 World Cup. As I do this video, it's probably 3 weeks to go, and that's not too early to get involved. There's selections in that Tony gives you now that you can get involved with right now, and then there's strategies on how to manage those selections, but also strategies on how you can use in all of the 64 matches during the tournament. In the early rounds, it has an interesting aspect on what to do with the African teams in the early rounds, and that's all explained in the book and the PDF, and also the fact that you can use these techniques that he gives you, these strategies, right throughout. Well after the World Cup, you'll be using these strategies in the normal league games, both in your own home country and also the UEFA and such leagues around the world and competitions. So it really does expose you to what Tony does day in, day out, and this is where Tony makes his living, is on what he's put in that book. The trading techniques that he gives you is how he puts the bread on the table, and how what makes him eat, live and breathe sports. You don't have thousands, or not thousands, but hundreds of hours to pour through football teams, tournaments, past tournaments, strategies, figures to see exactly what does. You don't need to. For a very modest fee, now you've got Tony putting it down on paper for you so that you know your best approach for this upcoming World Cup. Just something coming in from the news. There's a news flash coming in. The Argentine Football Association have already been given a red card before a single man has run onto the pitch, and it's about their literature that they've given to the journalists going to the World Cup. And can you believe it? I've had a section in there on how to pick up a Russian girlfriend. Well, a bit tacky. What are they saying? They're saying that you have to dress nice, smell nice, be clean, and don't talk about sex to them because it's very personal. The Argentine Football Association have come back and said that was a printing mistake. We've since deleted that and told the journalists not to read that chapter if they've already got the literature. So there you've got it, hot off the press there, already a red card, and we haven't even kicked the first football onto the field yet. So this is the time, this is the crunch, this is where you make the decision. Do you want to go into the World Cup unarmed, or do you want to have the safety of Tony's knowledge and get into this World Cup with his book here and make the most of it? Because remember, it's going to be on TV. There's 64 games over the 31 or 32 days. So there's, if you're not going to be in it, what are you going to have to talk about to your mates down the pub? Honestly, what's there to say? I was watching EastEnders or something like that. You've got to be involved, because that's what everything's going to happen. The world's going to stop. Brexit and all, everything's going to stop because the World Cup's on. And it only happens once every 4 years. So this is a year you can be really involved and make some coin And who knows, maybe even make enough coin to go to the next World Cup in Qatar. It's very, very hot in Qatar, so you better brush up on your tan if you're going to go there. So, on behalf of Tony Hargraves, the Badger, the same hairdresser as me, thanks for watching this video, and from Michael and me, obviously Steve, we hope that you see merit in this book to get involved and have a great 4 weeks of World Cup football. Thank you.
Everybody's always waiting on Friday, watching that clock and sitting on go. What you say we find